record. Thank you. There we go. See, I need an assistant for everything. So now we're recording. This is Daniel's Downloads, August 25th, 2022. I'm going to review one little piece of our past conversations because I want to make you all an offer. And so we've talked about the BioDoc 3 GI. I'm going to do 3 slides on this, and then we'll go on to everything else. But I want you to know how effective this product is being by my physicians calling me for more of it. The testimonials from the patients on voicemails with a doctor in Prescott are quick reacting product. And what we've seen with this product, remember, this is the product for IBS, and it's in IBS-C and IBS-D. So IBS constipation, IBS diarrhea, and alternating. There is a SIBO study going on with this product. It does help lactose intolerance. This is a very strain-specific 3 billion, very low potency, 1 capsule a day. Here's the jar. It looks like a powder jar. It's actually a capsule. There's 30 caps in a jar. What we're also seeing are these very specific 3 probiotics. And if you want a review on that, I can send you a couple months ago our discussion on this. But it's also working at increasing parasympathetic tone. And so you're seeing the anxiety component of this product. We're seeing stress-induced diarrhea dramatically reduced in 2 weeks' time. We are seeing people sleeping better. And yes, this past week on the road, the testimonials of Daniel, I need more because has been very positive. So it's very strain specific. We've talked about it quite a bit. I just wanted to refresh your memory on it, just in case you haven't tried it. You're at $17.45 wholesale. Again, some of you have ordered it already. And remember, we had the offer of buy 6, get 10%. I'm going to offer that to you for today and tomorrow. If you message me, email me or text me your order of 6 or more, I'm going to get you another 10% because that offer ends August 31st. I'm going to get it to you. If you give it to me in the next 2 days, I'll get that done for you. Okay. So let's dive into building immunity. You know, last time I talked about, I wanted to share a few unique things about biotics research in the world of some of our immune products. Not going to get super technical. Going to keep it on time for you, but I wanted to show you first off our immune support protocol. Remember, we've talked about this where we have built 30 protocols now for you. And this is the immune support protocol. And we broke it down into primary supplemental support, and I'll go down to secondary supplemental support. So primary Did you mute? Oh, you muted me. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Sorry about that. Accidentally muted myself. So we've got the immune support packs. It's your primary supplemental support, the BioD-Emulsion Forte as your secondary supplemental support, and the BioAE Emulsion Forte. Those are your top 3. You're very familiar with the BioD-Emulsion Forte at 2,000 IUs per drop, the vitamin A at 12,500 IUs per drop. You have then the IAG, which supplies arabinogalactans. See what we did with the protocol manual? You can see it supplies arabinogalactans, which activates the immune system's complement pathway, enhancing natural killer cell activity. If you know Peter D'Adamo and his blood type aid or a blood type for your diet books years ago, this was kind of his claim to fame of talking about arabinogalactans as well. The powdered form and the mixability of IAG make it a solid addition to your immune support protocol. In my clinical days a long time ago in Wisconsin with Dr. Robertson and Jim Emke, we used IAG a lot for kids because it really doesn't taste bad. It was easy to mix into their juice. Don't yell at me, but it was easy to mix into their juice and was very effective for their chronic ear infections. I'm going to share with you today another product that I think is huge for chronic ear infections. And then you see the Immuno GG. My personal favorite is the SBI form now, which is the serum bovine immunoglobulin form. We've talked about that a lot for enhancing gut immunity with immunoglobulins, and I've shared many of the testimonials on that. Duke's story, my black lab, and his parvo was dramatically helped by immunoglobulins. So we're going to cover the immune support packs throughout the talk. We're going to cover vitamin D and the details of that. And then as the secondary support, many of you are familiar with Bioimmunozyme Forte. I call it the immune multi for the viral season, the cold and flu season. Kids are back to school. So everything I'm talking about today, we talked about yes for you, yes for your patients. But remember, I always say we generally treat the adult population, but we got to take care of our kids. Everything I'm talking about today, think of for the kids too. All of this is safe for the kids as well. So you have Bioimmunozyme Forte. That was the big one when that particular virus hit the world. We sold out of a global supply of that in just a few days because everybody knew that product as here's an immune support product. So that, as I've used it as an immune multivitamin. So this time of year, if you're looking for a product to transition to off of a multi for people who are kind of exposed to or predisposed to infections, Bioimmunozyme Forte is a great multivitamin. We did show studies a while back on the Cytozyme THY thymus tissue. So it provides glandular support specific to supporting the immune health. This is neonatal thymus tissue. Remember, we mentioned before, neonatal thymus tissue is active. Adult thymus tissue is atrophy. So we're growing, we have active tissue with the neonatal thymus versus what a lot of the market has is the adult thymus tissue, which is atrophying, full of lipofuscin, which is toxins and fatty tissue. That is not the case here. In fact, we do have a study, a Petri dish study, but it shows that the neonatal thymus was twice as active as any other adult tissue. So what makes our vitamin D special? Because I think, everybody thinks, vitamin D, no big deal. Buy it from wherever just to get your vitamin D in. That is not the truth. I've been at this a while and I'm not here to downplay anybody. You all know that I never do that. But sometimes I want the truth out there about the differences. So not all emulsions are created equal. Think that, you're going to see that in my slides as we're coming up, but you could take an example of vitamin D and olive oil, shake it up and call it an emulsification. But, you have large particle, small particle, inconsistent particle size for inconsistent uptake through the lymphatic system. So we've studied our vitamin D a lot. And remember, we talked about using our products for kids. Here's a study summary, vitamin D treatment in young children. This is a Boston University hospital study at the bottom line here, General Pediatrics, Children's Hospital, Boston, Massachusetts. That was our product in this study. This is a little bit older, 2008, but look at these results. 1 drop daily of Biodemulsion Forte at 2,000 IUs per drop. You have 750 drops in a bottle. Increased vitamin D level concentrations in deficient children by 202% in 6 weeks. They tripled their vitamin D levels. So these kids were born, think about that, were born vitamin D deficient. What we also saw in a small population study that we were involved there is that the physicians had a level of around, on average, of 20 nanograms per deciliter. The laboratory range, if I recall, it's 30 to 100. At 20, they had really no immune system, meaning innate immune system. You need the vitamin D to make that happen. So kids are being born vitamin D deficient as well. And we could go on and on about the studies on vitamin D and immunity, a particular virus that has hit in the world. There's a lot of good information, especially some of the European studies have come out now on vitamin D being very effective there in prevention. And I cautiously say the word treatment, but that's what the studies showed. And if you're curious about those studies, I'm happy to supply some of those This laptop right here is loaded with 30 years of information. But here's another study, vitamin D in the emulsification process. This was a study done up in Colorado years ago, and a clinical finding reported that an 8-week supplementation of 4,000 IUs, now these were adults, these were firefighters, with vitamin D taken daily increased blood levels on an average of 106%. But look at this, they were on average at 27 nanograms. We moved them up to 54. Still, in that 8-week time, they need, in my opinion, much more, but that's a big jump at just an 8-week cycle of 4,000 IUs per day. Why do I talk about our vitamin D when, as I said, many of you know about different vitamin Ds in the market? We have a very specific technology that, well, a lot of our competitors would love to know how we do it. And I'll show you those slides. Not all emulsifications are created equal. This is very interesting stuff. And by the way, this is going to be gone over in more detail. Next week, August 31st, we have a quality control webinar given by the Vice President of Biotics, Daryl DeLuca. If you have not signed up for that webinar, and I appreciate you taking the time here, and you're like, oh gosh, another one next week, we could be on our computers all day listening to wonderful information. But Daryl's going to give a quality control presentation that talks about biotics research and what we are doing that makes us pretty unique in the industry. Not that I'm saying we're the be all end all, but I'm going to say being with this company for 24 years, we're pretty dang good. Okay. And so I want to show you just in this scenario, what makes us different. So the particles of an emulsion can be measured or observed under a microscope. The smallest oil particles in an oil water immersion that are thermodynamically stable are 0.5 microns. Okay. This is just right out of science. Because all oil particles will attract to each other, this is the oil particle limit using, and I put in bold or in capital letters, natural emulsifiers that can be prepared. Why do I say that? Because when we go to smaller particle sizes, when we go to nanoparticle technology, micellization, there are often other chemicals used that you do not need to label to make that emulsion to a smaller particle. Particles of less than 0.5 microns in such a system will aggregate and cause the emulsion system to separate or break. A normal oil particle size in biotics research is we all use 0.5 microns. Anything smaller, how do I say this, is not natural. So my cells and nanotechnology. Years and years ago, I was visiting a doctor, a naturopath in Tucson. And he's at a desk like I have here, and I was sitting on the other side of the desk, and he had a stack of books. And I said, what is that? And he goes, these are books talking about my cells and nanotechnology and the particle size being too small, crossing membranes where it shouldn't go. So look at this, in quotes, the deliberate addition or exploitation of some novel nanoparticles in foods may raise health concerns. Those are the kind of books that were stacked on his counter. There are chemicals like Tween 80 used to make the particles smaller and stable. We do not do that. We use a non-chemical surfactant to emulsify our vitamin D. Here's the proof. Not all emulsions are created equal. I'm giving you the visual of just vitamin D and olive oil. It's a very generic visual. But when people put on their label that they have an emulsified product, you are looking at something like this. Competitors' emulsified vitamin A product. Large particle, small particle, medium-sized particle. Here's Biotics research. Consistent 0.5 micron particle size. That gives you consistent uptake. You're getting what I call the bang for the buck when you're using vitamin D or the vitamin A as in this picture. So we do a lot of emulsification process. Think of, many of you use our ADP, the anti-dysbiosis product, emulsified oil of oregano. But you're going, well, that's a dry tablet. You can do emulsifications fatty soluble nutrients into a dry like ADP. But we slow release that with celery fiber, and you get good uptake to go systemic as ADP. We know about oregano oil, antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral, very wonderful product. So, but you're going to look under a microscope, you're going to get consistent particle size versus what others might have. I wanted to share that with you because I guess it's getting myself on my soapbox a little bit about what's out there and to what to be aware of. Again, not that the product to the left isn't going to work, but the product to the right is going to work better. Long-term, you saw the Boston University Hospital study, you saw the Fireman study of raising levels very effectively. And you know I love getting feedback from all of you, and you've given me that feedback that patient XYZ did this product, their vitamin D levels weren't going up. Now, I went to the Biotics research, Biodemulsion Forte, and their levels dramatically moved. So, and that's why, by the way, I am a fan of blood level tests on vitamin D, because this product can move things quickly. All right, that's the vitamin D story. That's the emulsification story. So I wanted to give you some reasons to be comfortable of using such a product, and you realize you don't need a lot. A little goes a long ways. Less is more is often the case. But now we have a product that I don't think I've ever talked about. And if I did, I don't remember it. Sorry. But we did a probiotic. So we talked about the BioDof3 GI in the beginning. That's a probiotic for the GI. This is a lozenge for the ear, nose, and throat. So we have an adult version and a children's version. We brought out the children's version first. Some of you aren't aware we did an adult version, and I'll show you the difference, okay? But ENT, ear, nose, and throat. These are target-specific probiotics for ENT health. Why do I like this product so much? One, it's easy for kids to dissolve in their mouth, and it tastes good. Two, all these kids are back to school. I'm hearing everywhere I've gone, every child I've met has a runny nose, a snotty nose, a sore throat, whatever's going on. I'm not here to diagnose, but I'm here to offer you ideas of effective items to recommend to your clients. So adult and children ENT Pro, this is what the bottles look like. They are refrigerated, so they would be shipped to you with a little packet of ice. Now, in Arizona here, yes, that packet of ice will probably melt a little bit. Your product's not going to go bad. It's not going to be gone, but it is best to keep it in the refrigerator once you open it as well. But it's a pleasant tasting strawberry flavored lozenge. It is newly isolated target specific probiotics. When I mean newly, I'm talking the past couple of years, okay? Clinically measured antagonistic activity. I'm going to show you the studies. Lysosomes. We'll talk about what those are doing. Strong adhesion to the mucosal lining. They have 40 clinical studies on these products. Strong adhesion. Boosts the immune response, and it fosters ENT health. So who put this all together? Lyubov Seichel, I believe is how you say her name. She lectured to us for hours and absolutely brilliant. World-renowned microbiologist from Moscow State University. She now lives in the United States. She specializes in microbial enzymes, microbial polysaccharide amino acid, probiotic, biotechnology, and fermentation. A long list, but I had to read it to you. Dean of Ukraine Biotechnology Facility, National Technology University in Kiev, and I'll show you studies that came out of there. She has more than 180 publications and 36 patents. So it's a unique combination of these strains that creates the potent clinical effects. So like we talked about before with the BioDof3 GI, just the 3 strains that had such an impact on lower GI health, very specific GI health. This is now very specific help up in here in the ENT region. So here's the 2 strains that were the most therapeutic that she discovered is Lactobacillus delbrueckii and Lactobacillus rhamnosus LB3, LE-LB3. So adult and children ENT Pro also includes some Lactobacillus plantarum which I've read has some strong antiviral components as well, Bifidobacterium longum and Bifidobacterium bifida. So the extensive clinical testing that was done in Kiev, new probiotics for oenterology, is that how you say that? Tongue twister. Strains of what we just talked about, the Delbrueckii and the Rhamnosus, as well as that combination blend in red here, were found to demonstrate high levels of antagonistic activity towards the microbes most frequently found in chronic and recurring ENT infections. So over 40 clinical studies on this. I'll share with you a story of, I was at a conference. We had just released the children's ENT, and a competitor of mine saw that, and she had children at home that were sick. And she goes, I read about this, I heard about it, can I get some from you? And so the competitor took some home, and the next day we were back at the conference, and she actually was kind enough to give me the testimonial that she said her kids were dramatically better, their sore throats were no longer sore. It can be a fast-acting product. It can be used as a preventative product. It can be used as, again, I'm cautious to say, a treatment product, but you see that we have 40 clinical studies backing this information. So you saw the safety, no side effects or complications with GRAS. That's generally recognized as safe through the FDA status. Stability, total stability, survival, high level of survivability, and adhesion in vivo, including in the presence of antibiotics or chemotherapeutic drugs. This is a complicated slide, but I'm going to try to break it down as easy as I can for you. In the middle are the two strains in this probiotic. Remember, a little bitty sublingual probiotic. You can see the zones. So the bigger the number, the better the result is what I'll say. So here's a smaller number, here's smaller. These two bigger numbers had a larger zone of clearance against all of these. E. coli, Citrobacter furundi, Klebsiella pneumonia, Salmonella, Pseudomonas, Staph, Candida, all have a large circle, bigger circle than other strains of probiotics to clear those away to kill it off. That's a very powerful slide. It takes a little bit to look at, but a very powerful slide to see that these two did such a good job against all of these little bugs. And then check this out, anti-Candida activity. We have so much going on up here. You know, I've been a big fan of the neti pot, especially with exposure rates of what we're dealing with in the world nowadays. I'm a big fan to clear it out, use a little liquid iodine. I have a huge neti pot protocol that we can pour through the sinuses to clear out, kill off. But now we also have this sublingual that we know has great adhesion in the ENT area. And look at this, killing off all these different kinds of Candida at a 90%, 80%, 100% sensitivity with that sublingual probiotic. So we talked about lysosomes because this is in the product. The importance of why Dr. Lubov wanted that in there was lysosomes are an enzyme used to lyse bacterial cells, lyse, kill off bacterial cells, hydrolyzing the peptidoglycan in the cell wall, so breaking them open. They are found naturally in our saliva and tears as part of an innate immune system, but now we're going to add more as a sublingual. We're going to go in, so if you have an infection, we're going to go in, add some lysosomes, and lyse those cells. So here's the children's ENT Pro. You have 2 billion organisms per one lozenge. It's a little bit smaller than the adult version. So you see, so it's 2 billion per lozenge with your lysosomes at 10 milligrams and your FOS at 25 milligrams. The adult is 6 billion. You got a 30 lozenge jar versus a 60 because the tablet's quite a bit bigger. So you have 6 billion versus 2 billion. You had 10 milligrams versus 15 milligrams of the lysosome. So something definitely different, something definitely unique to consider to have in your medicinary for adults and children. I'm telling you, if you promote this, and put it out front, let people know you have it. Parents are very excited to do prevention and, as I said, treatment in these ENT cases. And now we're going to review, make sure I'm on time, what at the top of the protocol was the immune support packs. Some of you are not aware of these. We did this when everything kind of shifted out here in the immune world. And we wanted to make it convenient for people. So we did the immune support packs. It's 1 pack a day. It's 5 capsules. And this is what went into those. It's a 9-in-1 immune formula. So you have zinc, CoQ10, EGCG, your vitamin A, your vitamin D, your N-acetylcysteine, your vitamin C, your selenium, all in 1 pack. So we did it all at therapeutic dosing. So some people say, well, you know, I'll take this, I'll take that. Well, we want to make it easy, convenient. I think it's totally safe for kids. My 15-year-old, Jacqueline's 16-year-old, they're in high school now. There's a lot going around. A pack a day cannot hurt. You'll see you have vitamin A at 2,500 IUs. You have the vitamin C at 1,000, vitamin D at 4,000. You have 25 milligrams of zinc. We've talked about zinc before. A milligram of zinc isn't going to push the threshold. 25 milligrams of zinc has been proven to push the threshold. You have your selenium, your manganese, and your copper. But then look at, people have been looking for this, worried about this. We have 1,000 milligrams of NAC. You have your elderberry, green tea, astragalus, 50 milligrams of CoQ10. Remember I showed you that slide a couple of sessions ago about NF-kappa B inhibition? And when we inhibit NF-kappa B as an anti-inflammatory, we can also inhibit levels of viral replication. Well, CoQ10 is an NF-kappa B inhibitor right there. So is the vitamin D. So you have a nice component covering that basis too, just as another thought of inhibiting viral replication, along with while you have all of this boosting that immune system. So targeted immune support, I just put these slides in there for your further review. You have your zinc at 25 milligrams, your selenium at 70 micrograms. That was big with what the virus that's being talked about so much is important. That selenium is very important. There's your 1,000 NAC. Many of you were worried about it disappearing. We even shifted some of our products to take NAC out of it to make sure we had enough supply for products like this. And we still have NAC, the market still has NAC, and 1,000 milligrams is a nice once a day packet with that in there, along with the elderberry and the green tea. You have your astragalus, supports immunomodulation with enhanced immunoglobulin production and restoration of those lost T cell activity. There's your price point. So all those 9 products that you see in that one picture, the 9-in-1, if you bought all 9 products, I think you're around $170 retail. Here you're at $75 retail for 30 packs. So you can do a pack a day. It's 5 capsules, super easy. And think about this, it's not always your patient that's going to buy them for themselves. It's the patient that's going to buy it for the spouse at home who isn't going to open 9 bottles and take all 9 immune products. Or it's easy to give to the children, or it's easy to travel with. These are super convenient. We have nice stands for point of sale display. We have nice patient brochures on this. I highly recommend those kind of components. We've talked about that before. The point of sale component, when the patient is writing the check, giving you the credit card at the counter, have some kind of thing promoting things, because they're going to read that. The doctor's busy, can't get it all in a session sometimes. They're going to read that on the immune support packs, or they're going to read that point of sale piece on the Bio3 GI and say, gosh, can I get that? I need that for so-and-so. That is ethical. Those are ethical sales. They're going somewhere else for those kind of purchases anyways. Why not give them a high quality product? Why not give them a product like I showed you, makes our vitamin D unique? when you look at, and I hope you get to listen to Daryl next week's quality control presentation, and what goes into manufacturing a supplement and the due diligence that we do in making a product, I think you'll have even more confidence in this brand that you recommend, that I appreciate you as customers. So, oh, I'm going way ahead. Wait. So I'll hop in the chat box. So the raffle quiz, the first 3 to answer in the chat box, get an adult ENT Pro. So that's the adult size version. It's 30 lozenges. I'll tell you, I was traveling a ton these past couple months. And the other day I was feeling a little something. I just started doing them the other day and I'm feeling better already. And that's the honest truth. It works that well. All right, so ready for the chat box. Maybe you saw the question. How many billion CFU is in one lozenge of the adult ENT Pro? Jacqueline's writing down the winners over there. I will ship it out to you in the next day or so. But 2, 6, or 9 billion in the adult version of the ENT Pro. Did they come in? Okay, we got it over there. So, as always, I love keeping these short and sweet for all of you because I know your time is very precious. You all got to get back to work. So the next class, I'm doing something different. I'm going to do an interview with a doctor in town here. He's a naturopath. And we're going to talk about unraveling hormones. What makes these things work better? The mystery question. I have the luxury of talking to a lot of you. Many of you are doing hormone therapy with pellets or injections or creams or just supplements alone. We're going to talk about some of those nuances. So Dr. Todd Smith is going to join me next month. I will send the link out for you to sign up with the follow-up email to this. So you're going to get the link to this class. So you get the recording. You're going to get any details that we talked about with the literature. So you have more details on the adult and children's ENT and the immune support packs. But you're also going to get the links to the next classes that I have all the way booked through December. But next month, September 22nd, we're going to have Dr. Todd Smith. He's a board certified naturopathic endocrinologist. There's not a lot of those. He's a fellow of the American Board of Naturopathic Endocrinology. So what we're going to do with him is, as I said, we're going to work up an interview style, going to learn quite a bit. I've sat with this doctor, brilliant, very highly intelligent man. And we're going to share with you some of the biotics products, as you see here, Be Vital, that he utilizes to help his hormone programs work better. So I'm going to go into questions in the chat box. I see there's quite a bit up there. Jacqueline just handed me a pad of paper here. For those of you that need to go, I greatly appreciate your time as always. I hope you found some value. I love it when I see and I get to see that you've listened in and then you try it yourself. We've got to be advocates for ourselves to help our patients. And what I showed you today all has absolute solid science. So let's dive into the questions. ENT, what makes them different? Okay, we talked about that. They're just a different dosing. So the children's version is 2 billion, the adult version is 6 billion. Generally one lozenge a day. If they have an active infection, you can go to a couple lozenges a day, but you really shouldn't need more than that. Yes, do these positive effects of these probiotics consider? Yes, sinus infections, absolutely. Where to get the point of sale? So if you order, we prefer it if you order about 6 bottles, then we will give you a free point of sale component. If you have further questions, here's my text, my email and my cell phone. You can email me or text me or call me and say, Daniel, I'd really like this particular point of sale. I can get you patient brochures, but we have plastic stands for all of this. If that's a component you're looking for, we ask that you order 6 or more bottles with that. Is that everything? Need a probiotic for 40. Yeah, so doctor, I would use, so the question is, I need a probiotic for a 48-year-old male with recent bout of diverticulitis. I would consider the new probiotic for sure. And I would look at the butyrate because that's an NF-kappa B inhibitor, an anti-inflammatory. along with the Immuno GG SBI. I'm looking at everything else. It looks like we covered everything. Is anybody else missing any questions? Pop it in the chat box. I'll hang around for another 30 seconds to a minute. You stop the recording. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Looks like I answered all the questions.